Every few months, the feeling of potential loss succumbs me into acts of nothingness, where I just stare, drained and lifeless in the void I created for myself. Not by choice, of course. I don't think anyone actively seeks out existential dread, though I do like to believe we all deal with it inherently. Said so, I'm not sure if I'm 100% right about it. Maybe I like to believe it so I feel less lonesome in my existence. But if that's the case, why do I feel so lonely? It's no news we can't read other people's minds, but have you ever thought about how clueless you are about your own? Not in a woke or third eye kind of way, but simply the case of how much you grip to ideals and rules most of us fail to uphold in continuity, how much you try to uphold values and lessons, yet we tend to revisit past strides over and over again. Just think about it. How many times have you told yourself to do or achieve said thing, only to be let down by your own expectations? Deep inside, we shamefully know how and why, but why do we keep doing it? To prove others wrong? Yourself? Because you have nothing better to do or fight for? Because you're bored? Ego is a small word, but a huge deal. And how much I dislike its meaning, it's also a defining factor in who you are. It's the persona you've built for yourself and lived through, personal arcs you've made and grown out of. The defining factor of the being you made yourself out to be. Somewhere down the line in my youth, I made the choice to be as independent as possible, because I learned early I was all that I had. Sadly, it's something I still struggle with on a daily basis, since if I looked on why I chose for independence, it's because, well, I didn't really have a choice. Some of us have the gratitude of being sheltered, or have others take care of them. If it's superficial, emotional, materialistic, you name it. Even though I'm glad for people to have these options, I embarrassingly feel resentment as well. My own jealousy bites me often enough to understand that what I feel is unnecessary, as I remind myself everyone has some form of privilege in some sort of way, yet the emotion is something I still have to deal with eventually. As time passes on, I learn how to deal with these emotions. Yet there's one that overwhelms me when confronted with: solitude. As how much is my defining feature, it's also the thing I hate the most about myself. How much I try to relate or connect with others, I always feel like there's some form of barrier that prevents that for me. I came to understand that connection is something intimate to me. Not just some friendly words with the acquaintances you make through life, your friends or family. Not that I don't want to, but as I grow older, I start to doubt more about the definitions people set up for themselves surrounding this, and if it's possible for me to manifest that for myself. What I strive so long for. I'm a do or die kind of person. Well, not literally. Or am I? How much I've strengthened myself throughout the years. There's nothing more devastating to me than the experience of loss. How much I can remain stoic on all types of matters. Nothing shatters me more than heartbreak. If it's from a dying person, loved one, pet, a crumbling relationship or friendship, the heartache I experience at that moment is the only thing that makes me invite death to relieve me from pain, where I normally survive so hard not to. As I start to shiver and crumble within my own despair, I try to convince myself it will be better in time. But will it really? Are things really better when the things that uphold me and motivate my goals end up non-existing? I think at this point is where we try to look at others and how they deal with similar experiences, and the information and advice people tend to give on these matters is to let go. Which, fair enough, makes sense. If it works for them, then why wouldn't it work for me? As I try to detach myself in all forms of matter, there always lurks a feeling of spite and resentment when doing so, as I'm giving up on another or myself on the matter, as in throwing away any meaning it had formed for me, devaluing its existence just to feel better for myself. Even though I don't blame people for doing so, it just seems selfish. where I start to question if it's ignorant or heartless to do these things, if I'm even worth the relief, or that I should just suck it up and deal with it. Hardship is something I notice a lot of people shy away from, the tendency to close off and walk away when things get hard or unbearable, or reach is the so-called self-preserve instead of fighting things head-on when they get rough. What do I gain from that? It's things like these that makes me feel lonely, where people tend to look and walk away from hurt and hardship, instead of obstacles of life to overcome. It's here where I found so much strength within me, the capability to tolerate, accept and acknowledge, and negotiate and strive, grow and surpass, the foundation to better myself, to become the person I want to be.